I love singing in the shower. Absolutely love singing in the shower. Oh, my light just turned off. Hello, and welcome back to this week's episode of You Up to My Yap. I'm still Erica Starr, and if you couldn't tell, things look a little different. I'm on the floor. It's 1 a.m. I'm tired. I'm in my pajamas. I got some makeup on at 1 a.m. And we're getting experimental, baby, you know? So these episodes will be called This and Yap, where I will be doing something and I'll be yapping. And today we're painting over this big old Z on my wall. And if I'm feeling like it, we'll paint over some more letters throughout the episode. But we're just painting it white. We're just putting some primer over it because I get bored easily in my house. And I have 5 train letters in my living room wall, on my living room wall. And I was like, you know what? We need something new. I just want something new. I'm feeling fun, fresh, and funky. So we're covering this up so I can paint something new. And we're just covering up with white paint. I don't know anything about paint. I don't know if I'm supposed to do the whole wall, if that'll affect anything later when I paint over it. When my dad sees this, he's going to be like, Erica, you did it all wrong. And that's fine. It's fine. It's part of adulting. But anywho, we're painting over this. And while I'm painting over this, guess what we're talking about? Take a wild guess. We're talking about art. What is art? What makes art art? And all things art. Yeah, so let's just get into it. To me, art is anything made with some kind of emotion. Can you guys see what I'm doing? Let me move back. This is giving 2016 YouTube video. I love it. Anywho, like I was saying, art is anything created with emotion. And it doesn't matter what that emotion is. It could be an angry emotion. It could be a happy emotion, whatever. Like even like, what I'll tell you right now is what I'm doing right now is not art. This is just me almost relieving stress because I love this. This is a great time for me right now. Anyways, to me, art is anything you create, not even with like purpose. Because to me, a doodle in your notebook has no purpose. You're not doing it because you want to display it anywhere or whatever. But to me, it's art because it's a little, how do you say it? It's just something that marks a time in your life. Like for me, I look back at the doodles in my notebook and I think it's art because when I made them, I wasn't thinking about it. Oh wow, this is so fun to look at. Like I was saying, for me, doodles in my notebook that I make either in class or when I'm on the phone or whatever, to me, that's a form of art. One, because I made pretty cool freaking doodles or whatever, but they were made with the emotion of boredom. And I think that that's enough of an emotion for something to be art. And I know it took me a long time to get there because I got lost in this freaking, this painting, this white stuff. But to me, boredom is enough because all creativity is born out of boredom. So if boredom is what made you creative and what sparked your little self to doodle some really cool circles or like, I don't know. I had this thing when I was in high school. I used to get these planners that had a coloring page. And I would color each page with gel pens because it took longer to color in, but I would color them with squiggles and then I would color each individual squiggle with different colors and it just looked like a super weird psychedelic masterpiece at the end. And to me, that was like a collection of my college boredom times. I look back at that and it's just, to me, it's cool because every time I doodled, it was because college was boring me. And that's very honest. But if you go to a museum, you'll probably see stuff that's like, this came out of years of sadness or years of anger or years of happiness or whatever, that some pieces of art take people freaking decades to finish because it was started because somebody died or because of some traumatic thing or really happy thing. And those doodles for me were that. However, when listen, like I said, this is just me feeling. When you duct tape a banana to a wall, it's not art. I'm sorry. That to me is not art. There's a really thin line between art and people just seeing the most ridiculous ways that they can make a shit ton of money. And I think that was one of them, because what was that? And the guy who bought it ate it because he was trying to make a point that this is so stupid that I was able to buy this for millions of dollars, or the fact that it was worth millions of dollars, that I'm going to make a statement and eat it. And I think that that's art. Statement pieces are art. Even if the statement is how stupid art is. That's art. I think that, hold on. Do you see? It looks like I'm literally completely erased. Okay. Let me say something. The people in my apartment building have been looking for the color that matches our walls for when they paint and they gotta, paint over stuff, or when there's scuffs and stuff. I just found white paint, random white paint. And it seems to perfectly match the freaking wall. This is amazing. Also, I don't know if I'm like making these strokes correctly, because some parts are already thicker than others. And I'm like, what is happening? But look at that. Ugh, how satisfying. Oh my goodness gracious. Anywho, art. This is not art. But a lot of things are. Like even stuff in, like, okay, this is where I get sappy. To me, everything in nature is art. Everything in nature was made to be able to survive in whatever circumstances it's made to thrive in. Like, there's this thing that trees do that I think is pretty freaking cool, because trees understand personal space. So if you're, okay, how do I explain this? I've never been. I just saw pictures. But if you're in a forest, or maybe a specific forest with specific trees, and you look up and you see the branches of maybe these specific trees. I don't know if all trees do it. I don't freaking know. But it's a weird phenomena. Is it phenomena the word? I don't freaking know. I'm not a scientist. But you look up and the branches of other trees are not touching the branches of other trees. Of trees aren't touching the branches of other trees. Yeah. And I don't know why they do it. I didn't read that much into it. If you care enough, look it up. But I think that's so cool, because when you look up, you always see like the borders of like the sky in between the different trees. And to me, that's art. That's nature's art. Does art need a human to create it? No, it doesn't, because nature is art. Flowers, art. They're symmetrical sometimes. They got pretty colors and ombres and gradients. The sky is nature's gradient. Oh my gosh. These are the things that make me happy. I love nature. I love the sun. I love the moon. And they were all put here to show us that the world is beautiful and that we are the ones killing it. Sorry to get dark there, but that's exactly why they're so pretty. To remind humans that we're the ones effing it up. PSA. Anywho, nature's art. That's one point we got in this podcast so far. What else is art? I like to think that anything that represents a time period is a form of art. Like, how do I say this? Because that just makes it sound like all like mementos and stuff are art. That's not what I'm trying to say. But anything that was created with purpose, with emotion, that can hold significance of some sort is art. So some people might hate me for this. Sometimes when a person, they just paint a square and they paint it red. And that's all they do. When they hang it up in the MoMA and they name it Fury. I don't freaking know. Hold on, I'm gonna burp. Sorry. To me, that is still art. And I know people are like, oh, what do you mean? And I say it because let's say I was angry and I painted this white circle. Well, I painted this circle white or whatever, painted over it. And I'm like, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh my God, I'm so upset. I'm so blah, 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 blah. Right? Like the actual strokes, the way that it was made was angrily. And I feel like that's part of the art. And the only reason people don't think it's art because they're very like, oh, if I didn't see it, it didn't happen. But do I think that it should be sold for millions of dollars? No. Do I think that people should buy it for millions of dollars? No. But I do think that if you want to hang up that red circle in your living room and use it as something to remind yourself of a tough time in your life and use it as a reminder to be like, you know what? I don't want to be who I was when I painted that. I think that's art. I say it's art. I don't think that all art is this profound whatever. Do I think the banana with duct tape had any intention or emotion? No. No, I do not. Even if the point was to get people mad at how ridiculous it is, maybe I'm just biased. No, it's not art. It's not. Nothing beautiful about it. But if we get to like beautiful pieces of art, like cathedrals and stuff, architecture is a huge piece of art. Oh my gosh. So I have this thing. This isn't architecture. I don't know how I got here. I got here because it's close. But I love me some furniture that is functional art. That is something that I have just, it scratches a part of my brain. Like I have this lamp. This lamp it's in the shape of a wooden man. I named him Woody. And to me, it is so great because I don't like clutter. So when I buy furniture, I like it to serve the purpose of being visually pleasing and somehow, some way representative of me, the way I live, and just, I like going into my living room and pleasantly looking at everything I see, even if it's something that has a function of light or holding things inside of my coffee table or whatever. I don't know. I think that furniture can make you really happy because you don't realize it. But when you're in your apartment, you're looking at your furniture all the time and your furniture's looking at you. And if it's ugly, you feel like, ugh, not only am I unhappy, but I hate my furniture, but I have to sit on it all the time. I have to lay on it. I have to look at it. I have to cook with it. I have to set my cup on it. Like it's all around you. So why not have it be art? Like, I don't know. Like this is what I mean when I say like you can make so much of your life into just a happy existence. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's so many ways to make your brain happy because you're lying if you say you have all these pleasant looking things in your house or I don't know, at your workplace, at your desk, and it doesn't make you just a little happier. Like when you buy something and you have the option to get it in your favorite color. Why wouldn't you get it in your favorite color? You get it in your favorite color because you're like, I'd be happier if I get to look at something that's a color that I enjoy. So go crazy. Or make it yourself. Like I did with this wall. I could have asked someone, a mural person, to paint some stuff. But though it would have been art, because it's professionally done by somebody and it looks pretty and all that good stuff and it's catered to that person's like style of painting or whatever. That's another thing. Hold on. We're getting somewhere. Like I said, I wouldn't pay someone to put a mural in my apartment because of who I am, I'm very intentional and I like filling my spaces with art that I made because it represents times in my life and I like looking at things and just being like, oh, I remember how I felt when I made that. Or I remember what sparked the thought in my brain to make that mural. And even like with the podcast, like I'm making a podcast because I like to talk and it makes me happy. And from what I've heard, me talking makes other people happy sometimes. So I said, let me spread the love. And now it's art because I have this intention behind it and I'm working on it and I'm working hard on it and I'm working towards perfecting it. And it's a growing art. It's a learning art. And that's great. But I was getting somewhere. When people find the really weird, cool art thing that they're good at, and they do it a lot, oh my God, that is so great. I freaking love that. There's this one girl that I follow. She's just really good with freaking textured stuff. Like, she just takes plaster and she does these things and she makes her little swirlies and she sells it for a bunch of money and people will buy it. I'm like, oh my God, good for her. Because, okay, let me tell you something about art. When people find out the thing that they're good at when it comes to art, in this case, like the plaster girl or someone who finds that they're really good at spray paint or somebody who really knows how to work oil paint or someone who really knows how to work acrylics, whatever. Like, these are all like painting related things. But, if you find out that you're really good at building certain types of, buildings or whatever, I don't know, just so many things. When you find out that you're good at that and you master that, like you can turn it into a business and you can tell people like, hey, or like the resin people, like that's a whole other community that they make like even like things after like people's dogs die and they take the dog fur and they put it in the resin. The people who make like those pyramid resin things, like all those things are so freaking cool. This is one girl I follow. She makes freaking ceramics and she makes I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, like mancala. I don't know how to pronounce it, but you know what I'm talking about. She makes these little board things. And she makes them with like, she does it. She makes the little circles into lily pads and she makes the little beads, frogs, or like, she has a whole bunch of cool stuff. And I think she also makes like tic-tac-toe boards with like blueberries and stuff. So freaking cool. These things are so cool. But I feel like what people don't understand, especially when things cost a lot of money, is that person learned the medium so well that they can do more with it to the point that you can ask them, hey, can you customize it in this way? And they're able to do it because they learned it so well. And they just succeeded at that thing. Like, that is amazing. That's an art. Like, to me, that's an artist. Like, I don't know. Like, I need a breather. I think this stresses me out because of like me and video. And when people like, it's the same struggle that every editor talks about when like you speak to someone and they're like, hey, can you change the music? And it's like, if you understood how video editing works, you would know that I edited to the music, which I don't think is a hard concept for anybody to grasp. So if I edited to the music and you want to change the song, you're asking for a whole lot more edits than you think. It's not just changing an audio track. Now you have to change the timing and everything. It's a lot, especially when you don't have a song choice in mind that you want me to change it to. I'm sorry, but I'm ranting here. Or if you want a slower paced song or a faster paced song, we're messing with a lot because then we need to use more shots or less shots or find shots that allow more time for it to be shown on screen. Whew, that got me heated. What I'm saying is, when someone has mastered their craft to the point that they could turn into a business and that they've, they know how to work these things, especially with ceramics. When you got to put that thing in the kiln and it doesn't come out the way that you want it to. I'm not a ceramics person, but I'm part of the Instagram ceramics community. And that shit's tough. Stuff be exploding. Sometimes you put it in there and parts come off, or you didn't mold the pieces right because you didn't etch it when you connected pieces together. Listen, I'm in there. But, oh my gosh. Please understand that when you're paying an artist for all the time it took them to get to where they are and be as good at what they're doing as they are. Or even like people who like sew. That's another Instagram community I'm like somewhat a part of. It's just so freaking cool. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how sewing works. I don't know how they can chop up pieces and be like, that's a shirt. Or look at a fabric and be like, oh my God, I know exactly what to do with that. And I think that part of paying an artist for anything is paying for the way that their brain works. Because I'm not going to lie, to do anything art related or anything that's creative or anything that's like building something from nothing, your brain has to work a certain way. Like people aren't just built like that. Like you have to learn that. And it's a mix of both. It's a mix of like your brain just wired to work for that thing. Like I can say it for myself, like my brain works very like much in sections and very compartmentalized and stuff. And when I edit, I'm the same way. Like I can see things in shots whenever I'm looking at raw footage or if I'm watching a movie, like I can see it that way. And that's just how my brain works. Cause a lot of people look at like my timelines when I edit or anything and they're like, are you okay? Like that looks like freaking chaos and a mess. And for me, I'm like, no, this looks pretty clean to me. And it's just how you work. Like, that's it. It's just, but my thing is, why would you pay someone to do it if you could do it yourself? Clearly, you can't do it yourself. So you're paying this person for their skill and the time it took them to learn it. And like one thing, I forgot who told me this story, and I'm gonna butcher it so hard because I don't remember the whole thing. But pretty much there's this story. There's this machine, this contraption, and this person is like, oh my God, like it's broken, like I don't know how to fix it. What I do. And one person comes along and they do all this stuff to it and it still doesn't work. And they're like, oh my gosh, like, and they get another person to try. And like all these people are trying all these things. The machine's not working. This one guy comes along, just presses a button. And he's like, that'll be like freaking, gives in a large amount of money for the price. Like, oh, that'll be like $5,000. And the person's like, excuse me, like all you do is press a button. But you're paying for whatever freaking way they got the knowledge or whatever. Well, and in real life situations, that would be college or just like years of freaking mastering something. You're paying for all that time that they spent learning and all that to know that all it took was to press the button because you had all these other people just messing with it and they couldn't do it. But then they found you. You're paying the person for all the time it took to learn the thing. And I don't think people understand that. So that was my little rant for all the creatives out there. Like, that's why, like, I want to pay all, like, the small businesses that I follow for their things. Like, I purposely wouldn't get jewelry from certain, like, your usual jewelry people because there are other small businesses that I feel like deserve it more, and their jewelry's just a lot freaking cooler, So that's, you know what? I feel like I just got some off my chest. Wow. I've been very stressed recently. Very, very stressed. Stressed, sad, depressed, you freaking name it. I'm there. But this is bringing me peace. And I think that more people should integrate art into their lives in some capacity. Even if it's like journaling, like that, literature is art. Like if you feel like you're a good writer and you can write about your day in the most magical, fantastical, whatever kind of way, go crazy. Like to me, that's art. It's creative time. Everyone needs, that's another thing. I feel like everyone needs time to be creative. And I think about this a lot because when I say younger, like I'm a freaking old lady. But when I was like, 15, 14, 16, 17, high school years, I painted a lot, like a lot of stuff. And sometimes I painted with no direction and I just made like bullshit stuff, like stuff that I wouldn't hang up. I was like, this is kind of ugly. What am I doing? But it felt nice just to paint it. Like it felt good. Like literally just putting a brush to canvas just healed something in my little brain. And I think that if everyone took some time to be even the least bit creative, even if it's a damn coloring book. Like I'm sorry, I keep burping. I don't know if the mic is catching this. I've run through so many coloring books. There's one that I have that's like super detailed and it's in the style of like traditional tattoos. I think it's so cool. But I use that coloring book for when my brain can handle it. 'Cause that's a different type of coloring book. Because then I have another one that's the simplest coloring book. They have them on Amazon and they have them in different things. Some of them are like desserts. Some of them are snacks. They're all kind of food related, I think. But the black lines are super thick. You're never going to color over the lines. So you can use like a thick marker. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's amazing. I recommend it to everyone. I pull it out sometimes when I'm just like, you know what? My brain needs time to be like, wee woo, wee woo, wee woo. Wee woo, wee woo, wee woo, wee woo. Like that's literally what's going on in my brain. Like absolutely nonsense. And you need that time. Like you need time to just blank. Really. Like especially if you're someone like me whose mind is always going a freaking mile a minute, who gets anxiety over freaking everything, who feels like there's not enough hours in a day, all that stuff. Like you really need Like, you need to set aside time in your busy life to let your brain be blank. Because I think that's when a lot of great ideas and all that good stuff is born. When you're doing things that let you go for like a solid hour or something. I am going to say something. And this might come off like snobby, like film criticky, or whatever. I don't know how it's going to come off. And I don't know if it's a hot take, honestly, because I don't know who else is thinking about these things. But let me just say, so I went to college for communications and digital media, and I learned a whole lot about like old films and just like what the rules are, how do you break them, and all that good stuff, and like how to successfully break them. And I just have a big old appreciation for all kinds of movies, film, and whatnot. And I don't, like I said, I don't want to sound a certain way, but I feel like there's a difference between a movie and a film. And the reason I say this is because I don't want to say a few times, actually, it's been a lot of times. All the times that I've watched movies that are considered like, you know, just these top-notch movies that are worth getting awards and all that it's all like, it's all the talk and all like the freaking, you know, the higher ups or whatever in film and stuff, that they're all like, oh my God, what a great film. This is amazing, blah, blah. And I finally like watched them. What I realized, at least to me, this is what it feels like. A movie has a beginning, middle, and end. It has like let's do the typical like rom-com. It has the cute meet, you know, whatever, has the big misunderstanding. Then it has the whole like, you know, the whole shebang where everybody figures everything out, what's going on, yada, yada, yada. And in the end, they live happily ever after. I feel like in a film, like things like Moonlight or that one movie with Timothée Chalamet and Selena Gomez, it's like A Rainy Day in New York or whatever. Or the other Timothée Chalamet movie, the one where he's a drug addict. You know the movie. Beautiful, 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 beautiful boy. You know? Oh my God, those are the first two to come to my head. What the heck are the other ones I've watched? Did I say Moonlight? I said Moonlight. Waves, that's another one. My brain is not doing the thing. A Moment in Time was another good one. Okay, A Moment in Time. We Exist in Time. Or A Moment in Time. I could be wrong. It's one of those. The Florence Pugh. I only know movies by their actors, I realize. The Florence Pugh and Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield guy in that movie. I'm like losing credibility by the second. All that to say, those kinds of movies that are considered like films and like critically acclaimed and are just like, whoa, my God, this is an amazing movie, yada, yada, yada. I feel like films are happenings. That they just kind of, it's like your regular day. I feel like you can make more statements to people who are willing to like think about the movie or whatever afterwards by just showing, oh, Call Me By Your Name. What? Timothée Chalamet's in a lot of, why are those the only ones that come to my freaking head? I'm not even a Timothée Chalamet girl. I just happen to see his movies. Wow. Anywho, I feel like films are just happenings and you interpret them however which way you please. Like, that's up to you. And you can interpret them by like the way things are happening or the way that it's color graded or how dystopian it feels to you specifically. Maybe to everybody else it's just a normal thing. And to you, you're like, actually, everything seems off. What's going on here? I just feel like films are just happenings. Like you're like, you're always wondering like, when's the bad thing gonna happen? When is it gonna reach like the big old climax? Like when is it gonna end? Or like, am I still finding out who the characters are? What does this guy even mean when he says that? Is he the bad guy? Have we been watching the bad guy the whole time? We didn't know who's the bad guy? Or like another movie, I think it was like The Amazing World of Mr. Ripley, The Something World of Mr. Ripley. That's another great one. And I don't know, I feel like once they finish, you're like, whoa, I have to watch that again. Not because they're always like a big old mind fuck or anything. It's just because you don't know how you feel about it until the end. And then I feel you have to watch it a second time to watch it with the feelings that you realize you had at the end, but just from the beginning. That's what I feel like films are. Films make you think, even if they're just something as average as like that one movie, A Rainy Day in New York. All it was about was a rainy day in New York. and just the happenings across different characters of what that is, and how they intertwine with one another. And I think that's so good. Like, to me, I don't know, like, I can think whatever I want from that movie, and someone else can watch it right next to me and be like, this was a shitty movie. So I do think that whatever art is subjective, because, like I just said, someone else could see it and be like, well, that sucked. But at least to me, a film, it's, I don't want to say it like this, but it's for people who care about film. Like, a film is made for people who are willing to think deeper and don't just want like something to watch with some popcorn. Like, that's just, the typical movie isn't a film to me. And for, movies and film probably have the same definition, but how the word movie and the word film makes you feel. They have two very different connotations. You hear movie, you think about the movie theater, or you think about just like sitting at home, something's on TV. A film, the word film just makes you think, ooh, that's important. Or like, I should feel something after this, or I don't know. So that's my little take on movies versus film. I've just thought it for a while and haven't had a reason to talk about it on any of my other podcasts. I'm here talking about love and life and stuff, not movies and film. But yeah, anywho, back to the painting. So music is art. Back to what I was saying about everyone deserves time to just kind of like create art of some sort. I love singing. I really do. But singing probably takes up, no lie, 5 hours of my day every day. Whether it's in my head or out loud. More than not, it's out loud. I belt. I'll be in my apartment, 12 in the afternoon, and I'm like, we're singing Frozen right now. That's how we're feeling. And my dog is like, you know what? What an excellent choice. And I'm like, thank you. I appreciate that, kind sir. Like, I love just singing my little heart out to some Adele or anything that just has a part that goes, Oh my gosh. Like that one song, Somewhere Only We Know, the Lily Allen version. It's just such a sweet song. And that has no belting parts. I don't know why I brought that one up, but it's one that I really like to sing. Or like, I sing to my dog. I believe animals need art in some form. And the one that I can only know that he officially understands is music, because, he can't look at a painting and ponder. So one of my dog's favorite songs is Tennessee Whiskey. Why do I say that? He shakes his tail differently, and he just looks at me with a little more love in his eyes every time I sing it to him. He really does like it. So I'm convinced he'll live longer the more I sing it to him. Also, I don't know if you guys are seeing, but the circle is still there. I just can't see in my little thing if you see it, but I'm covering up the circle more. It had enough time to dry while I was yapping for me to put on a second layer. But anywho, I sing a lot. I sing in the shower. I love singing in the shower. Absolutely love singing in the shower. Oh, my light just turned off. Anywho, singing in the shower does something for me. And what I've noticed is that through my vents, I can hear the televisions of the people who live, or I guess my neighbors, or wherever these vents, I don't know how vents work. I could probably be hearing somebody from the second floor. I have no idea. But I can hear their televisions. So I'm like, they must hear me sing, because I doubt their television is freaking blasted in the way that I'm belting. So with that being said, I just say that to say, I don't care who hears me. I think I'm on American Idol, and I think I'd win. Move over, Kelly Clarkson. Erica Starr is here. And she's here to stay. But yeah, so I think art will always make you happier. If it's painting, if it's singing, if it's filmmaking, film watching, like being it. I think art is important because it makes you think, no matter what it is. Whether it's music that makes you think about real life or art that makes you ponder about what could have been or the possibilities of the universe and all that good stuff. Like anything that takes your brain somewhere it wouldn't have been unless you experienced it is something worth um pursuing, I would say. Because art makes you feel, and art makes you feel things that you wouldn't have expected to feel. And I think that's amazing. Like when I was in school, when I was in college, my teacher used to make us go to the Met, and she would say, write like, I forgot how many words, but too many words of an essay about like a piece of art and how it makes you feel and how different parts of it can be interpreted. And like, that's something that people bullshit for the most part. Like, that's something that people are like, oh my God, here I gotta make up a whole bunch of stuff about how this thing makes me feel and just like all the different ways that I can interpret this thing for the sake of the essay, like not even because they care for it or whatever. And me, I took that thing, I sat for hours at the Met looking for something that spoke to me, as my teacher said. And I found this one, and it was of the moon, of course, because anything with the moon means something to me. And I think it was just called the moon or something. It was the moon over, I think, like a little house, but it wasn't super, like it wasn't a detailed painting at all. Like if I wanted to go the easy route, I would have found like something super detailed and like from a very specific period of time. So I could say, oh, this painting was probably made having to do with blah, 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 blah. But this was in the modern art section. And those things don't have barely any description because if it's modern art, the person who did it usually doesn't know why they did it. Like I said, it could be, it could come out of emotion, but sometimes, artists be weird and they don't even want to, like the little plaque won't give you any real answer about anything because the artist seems confused themselves and that's fine. But anywho, I found this piece of art about the moon and I just remember I was flowing like crazy. I was writing up that essay and I was just like, the moon and the type of blue that they used. And, it feels like it's a certain time of the day right before like nighttime. Because to me, it's not nighttime until the sky is black. And in the painting, it was like this navy blue. And I was just like, it's just before like it really turns into like complete darkness. And maybe that's the point of time that they were in their life where they were like just about to hit like rock bottom, but they're not. And like, I don't know what, like, this sounds like bullshit, but I meant it. I was really into it. And I was like, you know what? I think I do appreciate art. Even if it has nothing to do with what the artist intended. Like, I don't know. I really feel like I'm someone who thinks like, you would think I'm on drugs. You would think I'm on drugs with the way that, like, I hate this and I love it that I'm the person who stands in front of a painting with her little arms crossed like this. And I'd be pondering. I'd be like, wow, that's amazing. Like I really think that. I really do. And I think that's great. I like that I can do that. I feel like people make fun of it, but it's a cool thing to do. Like it's cool to, like I said, it's cool to just take time and let your brain wander. Like really look deep into a painting and be like, maybe they made the moon pointy because they felt like, I don't know, like maybe they made the moon pointy because they felt like they were getting poked by all the problems that they have in their brain, that their brain was getting like poked and it was overwhelming. So they made it like a spiky moon because those thoughts only come to them at night. Like, what? What? Where did I get that from? I wouldn't, even fake art that I just imagined in my brain did that for me. So, yeah, I don't know. I think art is so freaking important. I'm getting oddly emotional. My eyes are getting watery. I don't know what's going on. But art can do that to you. Art makes you think. Art makes you love. Art makes you, I don't know. I have such an appreciation for art. I'm on the floor. Let me adjust my camera so that you can see me on the floor. Because I'm getting uncomfy. One place that, one second, I'm going to burp. Hold on, give me a second. Side note, I think I have some kind of digestive problem because when I burp, I always burp in a series of burps. I don't understand why. If you know the answers, let me know down below. Anywho, I feel like, especially like expressing yourself through your clothes is probably one of like the most obvious forms of art that we is the word take part in? Maybe? I don't know. We take part in that, I guess, whatever. You know what I mean. Every single day. You put you put on clothes, you're putting on the way that you're feeling. If you decide to wear sweats, if you decide to put your hair up in a bun, if you decide to leave the crust in your eyes, if you decide like that you want to wear socks that you've been wearing for the past 3 days because you're not feeling fresh, you're expressing how you're feeling. You're expressing who you are that day. You're expressing the version of you that you want to put out there. And that's art. It's a version of art. It's an outfit you put together. You assemble these pieces of art because clothes are art themselves, whether made in a sweatshop or in a designer, not designer because designer stuff is made in a sweatshop, but you know, made somewhere that's ethical. It's all art. It's a form of art. It was designed by somebody. And putting them together is like you're an art collector and that's how you decide to display it that day. And I think that that's your version of art. If you decide to wear all black all the time, you are the same thing as the person who painted a square and they just painted it black. And if you are someone who accessorizes and you put on bangles and you have a nose piercing and you wear dangly earrings and you wear shirts with patterns, you layer it with sweaters and you wear funky pants with different cuts in it and you wear shoes with funky laces and you're just that girl, you're just that guy, and you do your hair a certain way, you do space buns or you have a nice high pony or whatever, then that's who you decided to be that day. Like, I think that's so cool. I like that everybody has the freedom to do that because one thing that I realize I enjoy, I love me a theme. Any themed party that I go to, I went to a Euphoria themed birthday party one time, never watched the show. Was I there for the theme? 100%. And I dressed for the occasion. Halloween. I love me some Halloween. I love dressing as something that I am not. Last year or this year, I was a samurai. Am I a samurai in real life? No, I'm not. Did I act like one? Was I flicking my fan everywhere? Yes, I was. Because I love me a theme. I love me a theme thing. I really do. So, all that to say, when I dress for anything, I dress for who I'm feeling like that day. My friends invited me to a football game. Put on the football jersey. I had a football related shirt on. I had a beanie with little pigtails. I don't know. That just feels like the look. And I was a football girl that day. Anybody who would have seen me would have thought like, oh, she's definitely a Jets fan. I'm not a fan of anything. Not even a fan of football. I understand it. That's as much as I need. You know, like when I go to baseball games, same thing. When I feel preppy a certain day, I'm gonna wear a nice little sweater with a collar underneath, and I'm gonna wear cute little pants and some preppy little boots, and wear my glasses that day, and not wear contacts, and have my little antenna curls out because I just want to feel like a little preppy college girl. That's just how I'm feeling. I had a day when I was like, I want to say 19. That was just feeling very. I don't know what the decade is. If it's 80s or. Yeah, it feels like 80s. And I wore like this neon green, like big old sweater. And I had my hair half up, half down with a pony on top of my head. And my makeup was done a certain way. And I was like, that's how I'm feeling today. And no one could tell me anything. I live in New York. That's another thing too. Like if you live in a small town and you do that, you're brave and you're lovely because I've heard from my small town friends that they can dress like that and everybody's looking at them like they're crazy. In New York, you do that and you're like on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being not crazy at all and normal, 10 being like, whoa, what's going on there? You're at like a 2 when you dress expressing yourself and just being a little extra, whether it be with your nails or your makeup or your hair, you're at a solid 2. Because somewhere in Washington Square Park, there's a man dressed as a rat, running around, acting like a rat. And that's probably an 8, you know? The person who's a 10, listen, we got people who come to New York to see a man in a Speedo dressed as a cowboy playing a guitar. We got people dressed as Elmo, bootleg Elmo, in Times Square. It's really hard to be weird in New York, or to be crazy, or to stand out, really. In New York, everyone fits in because everyone's fucking weird. And I think that's great. I think it's beautiful. I think New York City is art. It's the art of chaos. It is the art of anger. It is the art made of nonsense. And yeah, I think who New Yorkers are is art. And I think we're worth celebrating. Because who doesn't want to be a New Yorker? How many bios have you seen of people who left New York and have NJ/NY in their bio? Who moved to Miami, MIA, airport, no, not airport, plane emoji, NYC, or reversed, whatever. If you were ever from here, or if you were even close, because there are people who live in Jersey who love to say like, oh, but no, you're not a New Yorker. You just want to be us. I'm sorry. I had to get into that. I love being from New York. I feel like there's just so much that's just so colorful about New York, even though if you took a satellite photo of New York City, you would just get a bunch of grays and blues and blacks. But I think we're such a colorful place. And yeah, it's getting to that time. It's late. With my goodbye, I leave you with this. Nothing profound, I promise, because that's not me at this time of day. I want you, if you took away anything from this video, I hope it's the practice of seeing art in everything. Like literally everything. Down to your bus stop. Like, think about it. Everything is art. Somebody thought about how to make the bench that you sit on when you wait for the bus. Somebody thought about, like someone thought that a stop sign should be, that's an octagon. Yes. Somebody thought a stop sign should be an octagon. And it just stood that way. And it became this symbol of stop. You don't even got to put the words on it. Just make it red. Stop. If you make it green, people confused. That's art. When you see art in everything, life becomes better. And the world becomes a happier place. If you find joy in certain colors, if you find joy in certain shapes, in certain feelings, in certain gradients, mediums of art, like, I feel like that's one of the many reasons that I guess I'll talk about all throughout, the lifespan of this podcast that make me see the world the way that I do. My plates, my knives, my stapler, my tape holder, my cups, my can opener, they're all yellow because my toaster, everything's yellow because I find joy in that and makes me happy. So all I have to say is, like, even you grumpies out there who come off like so tough or whatever. Now, I'm not saying I'm one of them. I'm just saying for those of you who come off so tough and all that, and just like these grumpsters or people who just, think that everything is for nothing and that we're all going to die one day, just enjoy the art while you're here. I have a succulent shaped pillow in my sofa because I was like, I don't need a regular throw pillow. I don't want just a plain square throw pillow. I need one that looks like a succulent. And I got one that looks like a lemon. And you know what? It makes me so happy when people come over and they're like, that's a succulent? And I'm like, yeah. And what about it? They're like, I never seen that. And I'm like, yeah. It makes me happy. And that, I could go on about this forever. But it's looking like it's about that time. And that time is for me to sleep. But once again, like I said, find joy, happiness, and all that good stuff in everything that you do. It's Christmas time. Be intentional about decorating your tree. That thing's gonna be sitting in your living room or your room or wherever the heck for the next month. Make it something you want to look at. You know, make it extra festive. Do something real spicy. Make it cool. Make it artsy fartsy. Do like the Grinch thing and put the little Grinch arm coming out of it. Or I don't freaking know. Do something. Do something festive. Like the holidays are the time to get artsy fartsy. And being anywhere, I'm sure there's a huge candy cane near you somewhere. Or there's a house that's like super lit up with lights. That's art, actually. That's another form of art. That's yard art. Yeah, do something festive. Look at all the art that comes with the holidays and enjoy that. You know what? Take that away from me. Take that away from this podcast. In the midst of looking for art, enjoy the holidays with art in mind. Create art, be art, live art, consume art. And yeah. So thank you for watching me slowly spiral into delusion as the night went on. And yeah, just thank you for watching, not just listening, because this is not on streaming platforms like audio streaming platforms. This is a special episode. And this and Yap will always be YouTube only. So keep that in mind. And yeah, so yeah, thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Bye.